Screw It, Let's Do It. Actually, a really good book, Richard Branson.
Hey.
Yeah, man. Oh my God, we are back. Can you believe it, Mohammed?
Yes. I'm sitting right here.
Oh man, I miss this. I miss the simplicity of us, a recorder, podding. I feel podtastic today. It's Friday, feeling like money.
Ooh.
You looking like money.
Hey, mashallah.
My man came out here like
more dollars. Shout
his
out
Sunday's
to
best, bro.
Sunday's best.
Friday's
best.
Friday.
It's for my Lord.
Yeah. And then you look at me over here. I'm in my travel clothes though.
Yes, exactly.
I'm a wayfarer.
Exactly. I was about to say, yes. So please pay your zakat to my man.
Oh yes. Cause not only am I the poor and the needy and those in debt, I am also a wayfarer. So bring that zakat over my way.
Exactly. And, it's funny you say that because we just did a phenomenal, commercial or video with LaunchGood talking about zakat.
Oh, yeah.
And what I love most is that not only do we have so much fun and we got paid for it, alhamdulillah, I learned so much.
Don't be putting our business out there, bro.
We got paid.
I ain't trying to get robbed. Like.
But I learned so much. Like, I left there and I was able to come back and apply that information, right? I told my wife about it. I was on the phone with my boy from Australia. Shout out to Omar. I told him that, and like, these are people that have been Muslim their whole life. They're like, whoa, I didn't know you pay zakat on those things. I didn't know those are people that receive zakat. Yeah. So it's just like, it's a blessing all around. So
the work is making us have to be educated on the simplest parts of our religious duty. So it's cool. It's cool stuff. But Muhammad, I don't want to keep the people waiting, man.
Hey,
I've been waiting to get this one out, bro. It's building up inside me. Let's give me the countdown, fam.
Shout out to all the new followers and the day 1's 3, a 2, a 1.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jabril Salam
and Muhammad Hassan,
and you are listening to the Young and Muslim Podcast.
Asalaamu alaikum, everybody. We are back and at it's Ramadan Mubarak to everybody listening to this. May we all reach the month of Ramadan. Those are du'as that be made right now because we don't know if we will. So.
Speaking of Ramadan.
Yes.
We have a Ramadan course. We teased it to you guys a while ago. We haven't done a lot of stuff for the podcast to talk about it, which that's on us. We've been working extremely hard, very diligently to get you guys something that we felt was going to be life changing, spirit altering, rejuvenating, and whatever other word about change for good. We've been working extremely hard on this, and we can present to you now Ramadan Remedies Healing the Soul. It is out now. You can find it on all of our social medias, our bios. We worked alongside Butch Bilal Ware. You probably know him just as Butch Ware. And we really want to make something that could help transform your spiritual goals and your spiritual, what would we call it? Like a spiritual, like transform you spiritually throughout the month of Ramadan. Mm-hmm. And it's all about the nafs and how we can subdue it and then be better. So if you've been following us on social, we've been doing IG lives with people like, Esmail Badzwi, Falafel Kimchi, our boy Tariq Toure. We did one with, we're doing one with Shad Patel. Mm-hmm. Who else we have up there?
We had Riri Resolve on there, aka Wifey, which was nice. We had, I'm trying to think of some people that we did in the beginning. We had Dr. Faraj Hassan, the Recite With Me.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
There you go.
Oh, that was it. Who else? We had a bunch of people in the beginning.
I don't know if we're going to blink right now.
Come on. We had Abdullah Speaks and he spoke.
Abdullah was speaking, right? We had Fire and Shade. Shout out to the
Fire and Shade. Yeah.
B to the
homies.
M to the V. Shout out to Nova.
We had Butch.
Yes.
We had
Hafsa, who is the content creator and the,
Muslim.
Yeah, she runs the page Muslim MV SLIM out in the UK. Shout out to all my bad men.
Oh, and we had Basha. We had Basha on. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a firecracker. Yes. Yeah, we had a lot of cool people on, man, and I'm just really excited that
So I know Jabril called it a course. The reason why I don't like calling it a course, even though it's a course, people, when they hear about course, they think they're just going to sit down and just listen to somebody lecture the whole time, right?
Saying Omar Suleiman, no offense.
Right, I love Omar, right? That's the man.
We in competition right now, man. We try to sell our course.
This is a 30-day program, right? So it's just like a fitness program. a dietary program, a financial program. It's an intense 30-day regimen that requires you to put yourself on the line. And what I mean by that is that you have to give something in order to receive something. All right. So give is you have to give your time, you have to give your finances, and you have to give your attention, because you hear all the time, you get out what you put in. Right. Mm-hmm. So for this 30-day program, what you're going to receive is a daily digestible video. Right. It's not going to be too much. It's not going to be overbearing. The video is going to help you get through the days of Ramadan, because as we all know, we get stuck, whether it's day 1, day 5, day 10, day 21. Like, we get stuck to the point where we don't know what to do, or we sit in place, or we give up. Right. So what we decided was that we don't want anybody to go through that issue, because we know that we're going to have it. So we created a community that's going to include daily videos, a forum, which is going to have almost like an FAQs page. It's like frequently asked questions, like, hey, can I fast if I'm going through this? You know, if I'm going through this, like, what can I do? So all that information is going to be out there.
Well, that's ran by the students as well. So it's like an ongoing conversation. There you go. Almost like a Reddit page, but it's a private page just for those in the program.
Mm-hmm. And so every week we're going to have 2 live calls, which will be private. You have to be part of the program, and it's going to be catching up with you guys. It's not going to be about us. It's going to be, how is your Ramadan going? Cool. Now that we know how it's going, how can we help you push forward and have the best Ramadan? So on top, we have about 49 videos.
Almost 50.
50 videos that you'll be receiving within those 30 days, right? 2 live calls every single week. A forum that's going to be ran by you guys, right? Ran by the community.
In the vets. There's people that have already started, and it's ongoing. But once you're in it, you'll be a part of the forum. So you'll be able to follow along and engage with other members of the course.
And you will also get some literature that can help you with the video that you're going to be having.
Yeah, so each day comes with a lesson. So whether it's learning about auscultation, the first 10 days is all about learning about the nafs and the negative qualities that the nafs picks up. And then why we want to get rid of those. The next 10 days is about the good qualities that Allah loves and how we can incorporate those, the lessons of the Prophet, peace and praise be upon him, and the other prophets, alayhi salam, and how we can, incorporate those qualities in our lives. And then we go into the last third of the 10 days of Ramadan, really trying to dissect how regular life, like being out here every day, can help us, how we can use the lessons to help us just travel through life along with those good qualities, and not just be these spiritual, beings that just think that, God's just pie in the sky. It's like, no, there's reality. Like, we go through real stuff, right? We got, like Muhammad said, like, we help you get through this Ramadan, even though we've all gone through the most tragic year for many people. So it's a very, precise course. Like Muhammad said, this isn't a college course, so you aren't just sitting there taking notes all day. The videos, majority of them are short. However, they're impactful. We sat there for over a week recording all these, trying to make sure that every word was dedicated to helping you guys grow spiritually. So by the end of this, you will feel different. We felt different just coming from California after recording this to, being back here in Virginia and having to, put it all together and things like that. So we know for sure that being in there with everyone else is going to be ridiculously amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to learning, I want everybody to keep in mind there's multiple ways to learn. You can learn with all your senses, right? You can learn by feeling something. You can learn through your eyes, through your ears, because you're listening, smelling something. You can learn what it is. So we wanted to cover all those aspects, right? You're going to see the videos. You're going to hear the spiritual guide, Dr. Bilal, where you're going to feel the community. So basically, we want to not only surround you guys with information, but with love. And we want everybody to come in as they are. So whether you're hurting financially, physically, mentally, dealing with addiction, isolation, anything that you have, bring it, right? Because those aspects of life you cannot hide. Bring it, and we are going to work on it together, side by side, and inshallah, by the end of Ramadan, we're all going to not only feel spiritually inclined, but feel like we're just happier. All right, happier individuals, lighter individuals, and not take life too seriously because we're only here for a short period of time.
All right, commercial over. We're done.
Yes.
All right. We're back to the regular podcast, guys. But understand, this is for you guys. This is for the young Muslim community. It is on sale right now. There is 2 ways that you can buy this. You can get it. Again, you got to go to all the links, usually on our Instagram, but we'll also put it on this YouTube video. You can buy this with a student discount. So if you are a student, high school, college, doesn't matter if you're a graduate student, you just have to show proof. You gotta send us a picture of your college ID and make sure it's up to date, of course. And then you can, don't send us no college ID where you look like a completely different person. We ain't accepting that.
Class of 70.
Exactly. So send us a picture of that. The email, all the ways to get that, the student discount is in the link at the very bottom. You just send an email to the email address that you want to get the student discount. And the student discount is, I believe, somewhere around like 45% off. So you're getting it for almost half the price. But then, the regular price is $313. Now, some people are going to say, wow, that is a good amount of money. But the point is, if you look at how much it is on a daily basis, how much you're getting, what you're getting, the community that you're getting, this price point is something that we feel is justifiable. Certainly because of what work we had to put in and what we feel like you guys can get out of it. The money is temporary, but the effects of this course will be forever. And speaking of forever, once you sign up, you will have complete access to it for life. Mm-hmm. So you can sign in, you can rewatch it. This, even though it's a Ramadan course and it's specific for Muslims, we feel like this is for anyone and everyone. So you can show this to your Christian friends, your Christian family, Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh, whoever. Mm-hmm. Anyone can benefit from spiritual reformation, especially when it comes from Allah, because guess what? The Quran was sent down for all of mankind, not just the people that are born Muslim. Like we're special, but we ain't that special.
Yes, and and we know that Ramadan is the month of the Quran. And I was thinking about it this morning. We do focus on reading the Quran, which is beautiful, and we focus on reciting and praying with the new surahs that we've learned. But we also need to focus on the Quran actually touching us, right? Touching our heart and affecting us. That way we can apply that to our daily lives. Because if you're going through the month of Ramadan and you're just going through the motions and you're reading, but you're not actually applying those traits that Allah loves, then you're not having a holistic approach, right? And I think something that would be good to add that we missed is, what is the nafs for those that do not know?
Well, hold on. If they want to know what the nafs is, just click the link down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, or maybe we can put the link in there, because I want to go into the nafs, but I also want to have more personal conversation about, like, what do you want to do different this Ramadan? And going into this Ramadan, how do you feel about this one? Because this will be our first Ramadan being in lockdown fully. Like last Ramadan we were.
Oh yeah, I think we just got not everybody was on lockdown.
Not everybody was on lockdown, and we couldn't fully digest what lockdown was. Like, it was like there was a lot of mystery around it. Now it's kind of like we're used to it, we understand, but it's also been a whole year of tragedy for a lot of people. People have lost loved ones, like whether it's through, there's been a high number of suicide. There's been a lot of opioid overdose and drug abuse. There's been a lot of addiction. People, there's been a lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of tragedy that's happened. So with this last year, we're really trying to understand, like, how are we going into this Ramadan? I'll be honest, this one for me is a little bit different. It's weird, right? Like, I can't usually say, like, I'm last minute, right? Like, usually I'm like, okay, Ramadan's coming. I'm getting into a certain mode, and I am. I'm doing the things I try to do. I try and read a little bit more, try to listen to a little bit more Quran. I try to get my prayers in closer to the time that the adhan goes off. Mm-hmm. I try and do those things anyways, but closer to Ramadan, I want to get into the mode. This one's been tough mentally for me. This is probably going to be the most difficult Ramadan of my life.
You got it.
But alhamdulillah, I got it. All right. But I'm just being transparent because I feel like a lot of people in that boat was like, yo, like this is been a very taxing year. And it's not even like there's been a lot of tragedy. It's like, yo, like being around your fam 24/7, being, you know, stuck in the house, not being able to do the things that you ritually like to do, which is whether it's, you know, athletics, whether it's, you know, you'd like to travel, whatever it is that you like to do and you haven't been able to do it. This year has made it extremely tough for that, right? So, you know, how do you feel about it? Are you feeling like this will be their best one yet? And not talking about the course. I'm just saying,
no, personally.
You know, just personally, how do you feel it'll be for you?
So for me, appreciate you bringing up the question. One thing that I've been able to do these past few months that I have not been able to do in the past was to wake up for Fajr. That's always been hard for me, to get up and pray Fajr, and not just getting up and just barely I'm barely awake, just praying and just to go right back to sleep.
Mumble the whole prayer.
Like, alhamdulillah, these past few months I've actually been getting up for Fajr, been excited for it. So now when I get up for Ramadan to pray Fajr, like, it's going to be something that I'm used to. So that's been good. I think one thing that's going to be difficult for me is that this is going to be the first Ramadan that I'm not going to be with my family. It's going to be my wife and I.
Man, they're like an hour away.
So, an hour, but you think I'm going to drive an hour to go wake them up for Sahur? You know what I mean?
You'll be over there though.
I will be over there. So like, it's going to be more accountability on myself, because when I was there, like, maybe I'm not reading, but then
I got to correct you. It's not your first Ramadan because you went to college.
Let's not bring that up, because in college I wasn't the most practicing.
Yo, hey, I'm not gonna lie. Yo, nah. We about to take a slight moment to.
Yeah,
I remember.
I'm talking about the first Ramadan where I'm actually
like you kind of, you in it. No, I'm not gonna lie. Look, I remember there was this one Ramadan because we were still getting to know each other.
Was this freshman year? No, it wasn't freshman year.
Sophomore year. This is sophomore year. And we were out doing something. I'm not gonna like put no business out there. We were doing something. I was like, Mo, it's Ramadan. You looked at me, you was like, so?
No, I said, bro, don't judge me, dog.
Yeah, you like, bro, like, why you judging? And I was like, dog, like, it's Ramadan, bro. You're like, bro, like, I got you. Okay, I got it.
It's nighttime, bro. Chill out. Yeah. So I can't count those days, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't have like the, like my family around me. So if I'm feeling like lazy in reading, like my mom might be reading, like my brother like might be reading. So I don't have like the communal aspect, you know? So I'm going to have to create that like myself, right? So that's going to be, like I said, more accountability, and my wife and I are going to have to cook. And over there we kind of switched off, like, brother, you get 1 day, mom get like 7 days, and sister get like 7 days. So like a lot of things were broken up and things were easier. One thing that I always struggle with in Ramadan is just the reading. I feel like I'm always pressured because I do come from a household that, mashallah, my whole family speaks Arabic, reads fluently. So for them to go through the Quran it's not difficult for them, because they can comprehend it very well because it's in Arabic and they're native speakers. I do speak Arabic, but the comprehension is very tough for me. So like,
because most of them went to school there. I can imagine for you and Tutu it's a lot tougher.
It's toughest for us too. So reading has always been hard. So even if I read a little bit, I try to understand it, but then while I'm trying to understand it, my family members are just running circles around me. So it's just a lot of pressure.
Well, then that makes me ask a question, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of people that are in that boat, right?
Yes.
And I come from the school of thought where it's like, you can know all the Arabic, you can memorize the entire Quran, alhamdulillah, like that's such an achievement. However, if all you're doing is memorizing, but you aren't able to actually comprehend and pick apart like a small ayat, you know what I'm saying? And like really meditate on it. Mm-hmm. Does you having memorized the entire Quran, I'm not going to say it's for nothing, but it's like you still have to do the duty of reflection upon it. And whether you do that in English, Chinese, Arabic, whatever it is, like that is actually the most important part, which is, do I understand what this is? How do I reflect on this? And how do I reflect on my humanity and my spiritual life because of this? Mm-hmm. And if you're just doing it to say like, yo, I recited, I know this many surahs, it's like, are you really benefiting? Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we talk about in the course, just upon reflection is the month of Ramadan is about reflection on the Quran. And that's what Allah loves. Allah loves those that reflect and think deep thought, meditate on it, right? Like, we were talking a little, off camera where you were like, yo, like, yeah, I struggle with reading. And I was like, bro, like what I do, this is personal and you can do this. Maybe not. Maybe some of you already do it. I open up the Quran. Like, I might start where I was at previously, or I find something that I want to learn about. I have like this little, I have a bookmark, that I received with my Quran that points out parts of the Quran that are like, this is good for anxiety. This is good for depression, right? So I'll go to a particular part of the Quran and I'll read. And as soon as something sticks out, I'm like, I stop, because I want to take the time to let it sit and reflect and let it penetrate my soul. If I keep reading on and it's just like I'm just reading to just read, then it doesn't sit the same. And I feel like a lot of Ramadans, that's what I've done, just so I can be like, oh, I'm trying to finish. But it's like, dang, did I take notes? Did I do any like deep reflection on what I was reading? Because that is more important. Like,
yes,
it is, we talk about in the course, it's more important for you to find one ayah in the Quran that changes you during the month of Ramadan than to say I read the Quran, but you did it for brownie points.
Yeah, because it's not a pass-fail thing.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
And that's how we make it seem, At the end of the 30 days, your imam, your mother, your father come up to you like, did you finish the whole Quran? Yes or no? If it's yes, phenomenal. No?
Too bad.
Just shaking my head, But another thing that I want to point out is that, yes, like this is a month that we should go hard, right? And go hard, whether it's in giving, go hard in learning, teaching. And if somebody is competing with you, don't be discouraged. Like, come get you some, right? Because throughout the whole year, we compete with everybody else. Like, you want to get more followers than somebody, you want to get more money, you want to get more clothes. Like, we're always competing. But then when it comes to the spiritual side, somebody trying to push you a little, be like, man, like, dang, like, why are you pushing me, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we need to get a little bit stronger in that aspect. Like,
but how do you feel like you do that without pushing somebody beyond what they're capable of in the moment? Because spiritually, like, it's one thing to be like, yo, like, you need to post more content.
But why is that different than anything else?
Because I feel like spiritually it's a different task.
Like, so somebody can push me for work until I pass over and croak, you know what I mean? Like, but then when it comes to spiritual side, like, take it easy. Like, you bring up a good point. I am really curious.
No. I want to have this. Yeah. I want to have this tension there because, and I'm speaking on it, but I don't disagree with you. Like, I do think we need to push each other. Like, we talk about the buddy system. The buddy system is there so that we can push each other to do better. I'm just asking the question because it's like, if I'm in a place spiritually that you aren't, if I'm at a level 7 and you're at 3, I can't expect you to be at a level 7, right? But how do we encourage those who aren't as spiritually inclined to dive deeper into their spirituality? And one of the big things, that comes up when I'm asking this question is, we've never actually been taught how to tap into our spirituality. You know what I'm saying? It's just like sex. Like, no one is teaching young Muslims, young people, how to tap into real sexuality.
Or educating
them on how to tap into their sexuality. We hear sexuality and be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, ugh, sexuality. Like,
but that's not the broad term, right? These are all broad terms.
Yeah, they're broad terms. So it's like, how do you actually tap into becoming more spiritual during the month of Ramadan? Not just the religious side. I think we mistake the religion with the spiritual aspects of Islam. Spiritual and religious are different. Religion is, I do my prayers. I pray the du'as. I give. It's the Islam, like Islam and Ihsan, right? How do you differentiate those, and how do you help someone increase their Ihsan?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is it like, hey, just take little bites, or are you trying to be more intense? You know what I'm saying?
I think a good way to bring that up is all about the approach. If you want somebody to go hard, you gotta be empathetic about it. You know what I'm saying? I think when it comes to money or work, is like, there's only so much I can be empathetic about because we have deadlines, right? Spirituality, the only deadline you have is the day that you pass away.
It's death.
Yeah, exactly. That's the deadline. Literally the deadline. But when it comes to like work or like just with this podcast, like, oh, bro, I'm not feeling it. Bro, you better start feeling it because we got to get this joint done today. You know what I mean? So whatever you got to do it. But I can't say like, bro, you need to get spiritually inclined today. You know what I'm saying? So I think you bring up a very good point. So I think we need to be gentle and meet people where they're at. But I think I think the better way is we need to open up more doors for them to figure out how they can tap into the spirituality. And once they do that and they get rolling, then we can start, tightening the rope a little bit and then get them going. But yeah,
I think the way you framed it needs to change though. Instead of saying we need to push each other, maybe we need to encourage each other. Because when you say push each other, it implies that someone doesn't want to go that direction.
That's a good point.
You get what I mean? So maybe instead of trying to push each other to be more spiritual, we need to encourage each other to be more spiritual. Like, if you're like, yo, like, I'm just not feeling reading today. You're like, yo, that's cool. Like, let's go on a drive. And you might just put on Quran. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then you stop it. Like, and I'm talking about putting it on in English, right? Cause obviously if someone, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's easier. Like, English is your first language. Like, put it on English and be like, yo, like, I was reading this today. Yeah. And this is what I thought about. What do you think? Like, you're not saying, yo, like, you need to do that. It's like, no, like,
play the whole
no, we're just going to listen to the whole gist. We're not getting out the car, lock the doors. Like, nah, like doing something like that. Or like, you're like, yo, I'm getting ready to I'm about to pray my salat. Do you want to join me?
Yeah.
Not saying, yo, it's time to pray. Let's go. Yeah. It's like, no, do you want to join me? Even though it's Ramadan and you're like, yeah, we're supposed to pray. It's like, yo, do you want to join me? And they say no. You're like, okay, cool. Mm. And you go and pray. And maybe you ask the next prayer and they say no. But who knows? 3 days from now, they might say, yo, like, yeah, I'll pray with you. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, matter of fact, the company we both used to work at, there was this young dude, Khaled.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. And so this guy, we ask him every Friday, like, yo, do you want to go to Jumu'ah? He's like, nah, I'm good. And so every time we would go to the masjid, whether it was for break or whatever, I would ask him like, yo, do you want to come with us? Now I'm good. Yeah. Now I'm good. Right? Never forced him. But then one day, like, I actually sat down with him and I was talking with him, found out he didn't know how to pray. And that's why he was like real self-conscious. And so I was like, bro, look, this is a book, and this was a book that I was using, right? I don't think I ever got that book back. Damn it.
Yo, somebody could have brought him out there and put him on the spot, and that would have demoralized him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would have shattered him. So I was like, look, take this book, right? You can just read it. If you got questions, you can text me, whatever, get my number. And we left it at that. I never asked him. I always just asked him, like, do you want to come? And that was good enough. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think being able to encourage somebody without feeling forceful and making them comfortable and wanting to edge more into their spirituality is the approach that works usually. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, even when you think about how our parents approached us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you must read and it becomes a chore for you. I remember I was listening to, Hamza Yusuf. No. It was, Numan Ali Khan. Mm-hmm. He was saying, whenever I would take my kids to Quran school, I had to get them ice cream afterwards.
Yeah.
Because reading Quran isn't fun. Mm-hmm. Like, let's just be honest about it. It's not like this, like, it's not as fun as going to the playground.
It's not easy either.
Yeah, and it's not easy. It's very difficult. So I had to associate for my kids, Quran with enjoyment and pleasure. And ice cream is something pleasurable. You know what I'm saying?
My uncle, who mashallah taught me, shout out to my uncle, who taught me a lot about Islam. Every time he would take us to the masjid, we didn't want to go, but we knew that every time we would go there, we would have the caramel sundae from McDonald's. You know what I mean? So we're like, all right, let's put in the work real quick for this hour, and then this ice cream going to be on point.
Yeah.
But then throughout, we learned so much. All right. And people don't like to be forced. Everybody likes options. That's why in sales, you give people options. You know what I'm saying? That, okay, do you want the premium version? Do you want the medium version? Or do you want the lower version? If it's just like, hey, you want this car, it's yes or no, right? Mm-hmm. But if you give them options like, I'm choosing now. Yes, you can persuade them and take them to an option that you feel like may be best for them, but always give people the option because they feel like I'm the one that made the choice. So when you make your own choices or you feel like you made your own choices, you have to live with it, whether it's good or bad. But when somebody makes those choices for you, you can always come back and say, hey, I did this for you because of you.
But I love that because you also want to associate things with good memories. Right. Like, I'm a big advocate of everyone needs to go to Jumu'ah. Women, children, men. even though people are like, oh, women don't have to, man, listen. And I think the biggest reason is because growing up, whenever Juma would come, my dad would say, yo, I'm coming to get you. First, he didn't make it an option, right? But eventually he made it an option, like, cause I got older and tests and stuff like that, right? But it's associated with good memories because every Friday for like, I'll say like 4 years straight, every Friday we would go to the same Burger King, get fish sandwiches and milkshakes every Friday. And that was one of the things I look forward to most with my dad was Juma. And that's a good memory that I'll always have. And so we have to start associating our religious life and our spiritual life with good memories, not like people like one of our guys, SQ, he was like, yo, like you shouldn't dread prayer, you shouldn't dread. And it's like, it's hard to when prayer is not as exciting as watching King Kong versus Godzilla.
Or like said, but all the memories that you have about prayer and Islam, the Quran, are dreadful.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, I don't feel like I want to go play with my friends. But like, imagine if all your friends are praying and that's what your memories are. Like me and my friends pray together and then we do stuff afterwards.
We kick it. We used to wrestle at the messages or just whatever it is.
Exactly.
Obviously it's Corona now, so don't do that. But yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad we're opening this discussion up because I think this is something that one, we don't really get a chance to talk about a lot, which is how do we become more spiritually inclined? Cause let's be honest, Muslims don't talk about spirituality. We think it's funny. We love to talk about black magic and the evil eye, but as soon as we talk about like Sufism or mystics of Islam or the mystics of spirituality in Islam, people are like, oh, bitter. It's like, yo, really? Like you think that is literally just the 5 pillars? Like there's so much more to this religion.
Yes.
I personally really adore Sufism and learning about it because it reveals another side of Islam that I kind of grew up with. I wouldn't say that I'm a Sufi, right? But I think there's a lot of the practices and beliefs within the moral system that go hand in hand with how I grew up as a Muslim. And you learn that the religion is very relaxed and in many aspects and is very loving, and you concentrate on the love and mercy and the adornment and the reverence of Allah. You learn to love and fear him, but not fear out of being scared, but fear out of disappointment. And so that's something that like I've learned more over this last year of studying Sufism because I have spent, 2020 learning a little bit more about the religion in that aspect. So going into this Ramadan is going to be interesting because having that, that set of knowledge now, how do I approach certain things? I think I'm approaching them in a similar way, but with a deeper understanding. I
like that because, we know that the Quran is full of stories and it's full of rules, right? And the second surah, it tells us, how to get married, how to get divorced, what to eat, what not to eat, what's permissible, what's not permissible. But the approach, I feel like that's why Allah gave us reasoning. That's why He made different. That's the difference between us and animals. Animals don't have that reason. They just do stuff based off of instinct. So if we do everything based off of instinct, we're not too different from animals. Like, for example, the way that I get ready for prayer, like, I don't, start reading. I stretch out real quick, right? I do a quick stretch. I do my breathing. I might meditate. Like, all right, cool. I'm in the zone now. You know what I mean? And then I pray. Other people might be like, yo, that's weird, but that's what works for me. You see what I'm saying? Like, Allah just tells us to pray, to read. But everything before that is, it's reasoning. Obviously, don't do what Allah says not to do, right? But in regards to the approach, what works for you? But that goes back to knowing yourself, knowing who you are, knowing what works for you.
Something very just came to mind. Check on your friends who are recent converts or reverts. No. Check on the people who are incarcerated. When we did the video on zakat, one of the things that we learned is that zakat is meant for those who are incarcerated. And growing up, my dad would always visit the prison and give them dawah and give them zakat because they need resources. They need money. They need things while they're in there, whether they're there, justifiably or not. And many people are unjustifiably in prison, right? We have to support that community. And there's so many blessings with it because you're giving someone a chance when outward society is abandoning them,
right?
Abandoning them. them. You are going. And then, I was thinking about this brother who recently converted, and alhamdulillah, we were part of that process. I haven't heard from him. I haven't heard of Pete.
We need to check on him after this.
Yeah, I've checked on him a couple times. It's probably been a couple weeks or so, but I was just thinking about, like, this will be his first Ramadan, and he's more than likely going to be doing it alone. Even though he has family members and things of that nature, it's like, we never want someone to feel abandoned during this month. And again, that was a big reason why we did this course, why we chose to work with, Butch Ware, because him being a convert, he had the understanding of how to break things down simplistically for the audience. So, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful that you guys listening, people that are watching, you guys will take the responsibility and be like, man, I have this friend that converted like 2 years ago. Let me check on see how they're doing. Or I have a cousin or I have a friend that recently converted. Like, let me check on them. Or I might know some incarcerated people. Or maybe you just want to meet more people who do work. Like one of my good friends, Naeem, he's a youth imam, and that part of his work that he does outside of the masjid is give dawah to the incarcerated community. And that's imperative. That's something that we're commanded to do as a part of Zakat. And we don't know these things, but we talked about it in the ad that we did. And so it's really cool. As we said, our work allows us to expand and learn more of just the simple, practical ways to do the things that Allah commands us to do. So I'm excited for this Ramadan. The more we talk about it, the more excited I get. As the days get closer, I get more excited. But yeah, man, this is going to be a different one for sure.
Oh yeah, this Ramadan is, I'm getting selfish. It's probably going to be the most selfish Ramadan I'm going to have. Obviously the communal aspect, but I'm just focusing on me. I'm not comparing myself to anybody. I'm not looking online at anybody. It's like, let me just get my readings in, try to dissect the stories and learn more about it and why our prophets did this and why they went through those trials, and try to learn from my personal stories and the things that I'm going through. So, yeah.
I know we got a lot of other things to get to, and I want to get to those, but I also want to just point this out as well. And Ramadan, we're commanded to fast, right? Like we fast from food and water. And I think all of us got that down. 6-year-olds got that down. But I don't think we understand the other things that we're supposed to fast from. Like people are, avert your eyes and this, and the third. Everyone's fast outside of the food and water is completely different. Completely different. Everyone has their own set of vices and their nefs. And some of us need to start fasting from it well beforehand. Like they're like, the month of Shaban, you should fast every Monday and Thursday. Amazing. Fast from food and water every Monday and Thursday if you can do it. But how are we trying to fast and avert our nefs from certain things that we are attached to, right? And I mean the things that hurt us physically, mentally, spiritually, all around, right? So if it's like you're used to watching like drama series and and it's very damaging, like it makes you very angry. Separate from it, right? If social media is your vice and it's like you get up there and you just feel lethargic, you feel very self-conscious, like you get up there and you just have this weird energy, maybe you should start fasting from that.
I think we need to go into social media a little bit more, because what I was going to ask you is there any way that you can have a full blown out complete fast that you mentioned while being on social media all day?
That's a great question. I think you can, because if you observe the fasting like you do with Ramadan, where it's like during the daylight hours you're just not on Instagram, and then when it's time to break, you can get on again.
I mean during the day, while you're actually fasting. Because I remember last year, we were in the crib, and I caught myself just going through social media, just trying to find stuff, who's going live, who's doing this, what videos can I watch, and I really was just like overexerting like myself, you know what I mean? And next thing I know, I was just like, yo, I've been on IG all day today.
Yeah.
How did that even happen?
It's tough, man. Is that question, if you asked me this in 2019, I would give a different answer, but because of the circumstances, I think it's tough. Like a lot of us can't go anywhere. Yeah. Like we can't go explore new places during Ramadan. Like in the past, I might say, yo, like I'm going to go here and chill in this place for a week or two during Ramadan. Or I wanted to go overseas for this Ramadan, but
go see a friend, you know what I mean? Go hang out at a friend's house.
yeah, like it's completely different. So the social aspect of Ramadan is gone, and we try and plug that with social media, which it can do a decent job, but it's not the real thing.
Yeah.
So it becomes tough, man. Like, it's a tough question. I think everyone has to examine themselves. Everyone has to have a level of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Where they say, all right, well, social media for me is a vice. Is becoming something where I'm just up there aimlessly. I'm just looking at pictures. I'm looking at pictures that maybe I shouldn't be looking at, you know what I'm saying? And it's taking me further away from where I want to be spiritually. We gotta start talking in vague terms. Like, it takes you further away from Allah. Like, what does that mean, right? And I'm not going to go into that now, but I think that we have to start really examining what takes us away from being our best selves. And I feel like in a way that takes us away from Allah, right? Allah says we're the best of humanity, but if things are taking you away from being your most active, your most happy, your most energetic self, then it's like, then you need to examine if those are things that you should fast from. If your nefs are getting fueled up from that stuff, maybe that's stuff you need to fast from, and then you can go back to it once you have discipline and self-control.
Yeah. I think that's a great point, because it's all about how it makes you feel. So if you consume content that after you feel great, that you want to do good and be good, then alhamdulillah. But then if you watch content that, you know, is bringing you down about yourself, whether it's about your looks, about your thought process, the way that you carry yourself, then you might want to stay away from that. So I think it is a balance thing. And if you're not on social media, you know, like that's also good. But I think you need to also be careful on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, don't be on YouTube aimlessly watching videos all day just to kind of let the day go past because you're fasting. So I would definitely be careful on that.
For me, is House, fam. House, bro. I've been watching House nonstop for the last month and a half, bro. I love that show. But you know what's crazy? Last Ramadan, I had a friend. She just watched movies all Ramadan. Like, she was watching like 3-4 movies every day. And it was weird to me because I was like, we talk on a regular basis. I was like, so you're not reading, like, you're missing prayers, like, you're just watching movies. And I'm not gonna lie, I was judging. Right? But I realized, like, that's how you have to handle things. Like, this is a difficult time. Everyone's handling it differently. You know, I'd never say anything, but it was like, it was strange to me. But everyone handles the spiritual journey during Ramadan and throughout life differently, and we have to accept that and we have to respect it. And all we can do is just be there to be a shoulder lean or a hand to be held.
Shoulder lean. So I'm glad you gave practical tips in regards to social media and the nefs. I think another aspect that's going to be very important, what are some practical ways that individuals can practice Ramadan while living with family and not go crazy?
I don't know.
It's not possible.
I think Ramadan is the perfect time though, because it's a time where you have to refrain from yelling, from, like, you're trying to subdue the negativity that flourishes within you. Because a lot of the things that we believe that we think aren't really our thoughts. Our mind is not us, and our thoughts are not us. Right? Our actions make us. Beliefs are things that you act on.
Bars.
Right? You can believe something, but if you don't act on it, it's not really a belief. It's just a random thought. And just because you think about it all the time doesn't mean that, just because you think about it all the time doesn't mean that is your thought, right? You are not your mind. You are not your nefs. Your nefs are a part of your ego, this thing that tries to convince you of things that aren't necessarily things that you want to do. So when you're at home, you're frustrated, sometimes you gotta have the self-awareness, the ability to recognize your feelings and your thoughts, and then realize, like, okay, I don't need to act on this. Like, someone says something to me, I don't need to react to that. My family's getting on my nerves. Maybe I need to take a step back and relax. Or I need to go on a walk and come back, and I'll be good again. So, I mean, that's what I do. I'm in my own programs and my own journey with trying to have more empathy, trying more empathy for myself. like, I think sometimes we're always so focused on how do we deal with people outside. We need to focus more on, as you said, be selfish and focus more on how do we deal with our own self. Yeah. A lot of us don't understand. Like, we're like, yo, I love people. I know how to deal with people, but do you know how to deal with your own thoughts? Do you know how to deal with your own mind? Do you know how to deal with the rabbit mind?
It's crazy, man. One thing that I've been able to learn, and it's been difficult, is the ability to say no. Right, saying no has helped me so much and has freed me from so many different things. Like, yo, can you come do this? Can you do that? No. All right, cool. Because that saves me more time. And the more things that you say yes to for other people, the more things you're saying no to yourself. So if you want to go to the gym, but you gotta go help somebody, then you lose your gym time. You lose your time to get fit. So the reason why I bring that up is that we're so gentle when it comes to other people. We're so kind. I'm so sorry you went through this. Like, I pray things get better. And, you take your time with them. But when it comes to yourself, you start cussing yourself out. You call yourself an idiot. You dumb. You lazy. You fat. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
Mo about to switch it up. You're like, Mo, no, you idiot. It's like, you're like, bro, you are a gentle soul.
Bro, you are gentle. And, I was talking to my wife a few days ago, and there was like this hard task that I had to approach. And I was just like, I took a deep breath. And Maria also brought it up too. I was just like, man, this thing is hard. It's always on me. Why is everybody depending on me? You know what I'm saying? Forget y'all. But then I was just like, you know what, bro? Like, I'm glad they're coming to me, because that means Allah has blessed me with something that somebody else can't do on their own, So let me just take my blessings and let me fill myself up. And I'm just like, you know what, Mo? They're coming to you for a reason, bro. So be proud about that. Be happy and just hit that journey like head on. And I have a whole new energy. So for this Ramadan, we have to protect our energy, all right? Whether that's spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, we have to protect that energy, because if you don't protect it, somebody's gonna come and take it. I think that's how it works, because you give energy and you take energy.
You spoke about boundaries.
Yes.
And I think that it's important that we draw boundaries, not just with people, but with things. Like for myself, like,
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by
like we talk about social media. I have boundaries on my social media now. And even though it's our work, like we had set boundaries with each other, right? Like, yo, like, and I think it happens naturally. Like, you get married and it's like, okay, like, I'm not calling you at 2 a.m, right? Like, there's nothing that important. Like, if it is that important, you know what's going to be. Exactly. I know that me calling you, or I know if you call me, it's going to be important, right? But no, like, yo, guess what happened? Like, the pod, like, nah, like, if it's past like 12 o'clock, it's like, yo, it's important, right? I think setting boundaries with our time is important, and really that's the only boundary you set. Is like everything you set is with time. Because even if it's like, yo, I don't talk to this person because every time I talk to them, they're calling me about issues and problems that they have, and they're just unloading on me. Yeah. You gotta set a boundary.
That's what I mean by no.
Every time I talk to this person, I feel anxious, and I feel like, there's always something that I gotta do, or I gotta cut, right? I talk to this person once a week. Instead of like they call me and I pick up. Sometimes you don't have to pick up the phone just because somebody calls, right? Like, I used to be the person to be like, yo, like, I know you on social media, so why don't you pick? Like, yo, nah, like, you don't feel like picking up, that's fine.
But right? Bro, you were also that person, like, subhanAllah, like, everybody knew that when they called you, you were gonna pick up and help them with their problem.
I know Mo.
I'm going through something. I'm calling bro. He gonna listen to me for 2-3 hours.
But again, it's like you said, like, you have to protect that energy, because you become someone's place to unload, right? Yeah. Like, I have friends of all different races, ethnicities, gender, right? And it's like, sometimes you listen to someone else's problems, is like, nah, I ain't got it today, bro. Like, nah, I can't. Like, sometimes you want to have somebody that you can talk to, and you're like, yo, y'all can share ideas and things, and like, even problems, like, you can be like, yo, like, I was going through this, they ain't tell me about it, and then you like, all right, I'm not doing that, right? But sometimes you don't want to talk to people. Like, I'm a big extrovert. I love people, but I love alone time as well, and I love not having to listen to other people. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important that you gauge that for yourself as well. You gauge, like, yo, I don't want to give all of this time and all of this energy to certain things. So with my social media, after, I believe, like 10:30, my phone goes on like shutdown mode. I can only access like phone calling, FaceTime, Google Maps, and like a couple other apps, like my calculator and notes. If I get a random note at 3 a.m, I can type it up, right? That's discipline. And I'm not the most disciplined, but before that, I would be on my phone all day and all night, right? It was hard. I'm like, man, what? No, I was BSing. Like, look, as much as I love work and hustle, I'll be the first to admit that I BS probably more than the average, right? And I think a lot of us do that. So I don't want there to be this conception. It's like, yo, no, I just work. Nah, it's like, no, a lot of times we're on IG. Yes, our work. A lot of times we have to do research. We do it to keep up and see who's doing what and what's going on, especially because we interview people. But reality is, like, I don't need to see what you're doing every single day. Heck. I don't need to be on this app every day. I don't need to be on the phone with people every day. I don't need to talk. Look, you don't need to talk to your parents every day, right? Like, that's something that I'm working on. Like, I don't need to speak to my parents every day. Like, I don't need to speak with him every day. Like, we'll be like, damn, well, I didn't catch up with you. Like, when you work together, it's a little bit different, right? But like, I got best friends that I talk to once a week, once every other week. Cause like, yo, like, I don't need to speak with you every day. We don't, like, if I speak with you today, what changes between today and yesterday?
No, it's not really much. It's the minute things, like what we ate.
Exactly.
The clothes that we wore.
Exactly. So it's like, you have to set boundaries with all the things that you engage with in your life. The only thing that doesn't have a boundary maybe is my cat. That's about it. He's the only thing that doesn't have, even with him, he started getting on my nerves, he's going outside.
Yeah, bro. Right? I think we need to unwire the way that we've been taught. Like, these motivational gurus are making a lot of money off of us, and a lot of things that they say they do not even do. Like, I used to be at the point where, like, yo, we're working all the time, hustling, doesn't matter what time. Like, bro, everybody needs a set time where I take calls at this certain time, right? I check social media at this certain time. I check my email at this certain time. Obviously, there's always exceptions to the rules. But again, if you're that person that, you know, people can call you at any time, if they can text you at any time, and you always make yourself available, you'll get exploited.
Yeah.
Right? You'll get exploited, whether it's from your audience, from your family, from your friends. Now I got to the point where my friends used to call me from back in the day, and they used to tell me what's going on back in the neighborhood. Like, yo, can you believe homie did that? Da, 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 da. And I told them, I was like, guys, look, I'm not in that world anymore, so don't call me about this. So now when they call me, check out, yo, Ma, how you doing? Okay, cool. Like, you know, you want to go Juma, you want to do some business, yada. After that, all the other stuff, they want to talk to me about it, but they already know that I'm not about it. So what do? They find somebody else for that. They'll always find somebody else, and I'm not that somebody else.
Yeah, you can't be that person all the time. All right, let's get into the other topics we got, because I wasn't expecting that. But
I'm glad we went into that, because it's going to help a lot of people.
For sure.
So we spoke about our pre-Ramadan tips on how we were getting ready for Ramadan, what we're going to do different from last year to this year, and creating boundaries to save our energy and make sure that we're at peace. And I think happiness plays a very big part in that, you know. And there was a story that just dropped in Allen, Texas. It was a very tragic event. It was a family of 6 that was in a murder-suicide. And what that is, it was about 2 brothers, a sister, father, mother, and a grandmother that all lived together. I believe the family was Pakistani descent. I could be wrong. But it was out in Allen, Texas, and what the 2 brothers did, they made a pact that if things didn't change within 1 year, that they were going to murder their family and then commit suicide. So one was going to take out the sister and the grandma, and the other one was going to take out the mother and father. So they basically broke it up. So it was a very tragic event. And just reading some of the news articles, the kids just weren't happy. You know, and when we think about happiness, it's kind of hard to tell what happiness is, because I think it's different for everybody. What I got from that story was that everybody's going through something, right? And that mental health is a real thing, and that we really need to focus on it, because if any individual feels like they need to take themselves out or their families out, then like they needed help. Right, and they felt like the best course of action was that if they committed suicide themselves, then they didn't want their families to live the rest of their lives more mourning about the loss of their children, so they decided just to.
That was the rationale?
Yeah. Yeah, so they decided.
That is the most BS rationale I've ever heard.
They decided to take everybody out that way. It's just kind of just, when it's done, it's done. You know?
That is the most sucker thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's very difficult because the grandmother was in her 70s. She was supposed to go to Pakistan within a month, you know, and they said that the younger boy, I believe who was 21, the older son, he used to cut himself when he was like 16 years old. So you can tell he was going through depression for 5 to 6 years, you know. So that was something he was battling for a while. And I think more conversations have to be had about this, because parents need to talk to their kids and kids need to talk to their parents. You know what I mean? Like, I think parents are the first line of defense, because you see your children, you see what they go through, and just listen to them and see what they want to do. Bro, it plays a major role, man. Like, not all of us want to be doctors, lawyers, engineers. Like, we want to be simple. Maybe we want to be a teacher. Maybe we want to code. Maybe we want to start a podcast or YouTube channel, because that's what makes us happy. Obviously, parents give us direction and guidance on maybe what we should not do. But don't, like we said earlier, right, bro? Give us options, encourage us. Don't force us to do things, because at the end of the day, that nobody likes that.
Yeah. That's tragic, bro. Yeah. But it also shows that, you know, you brought up a good point where we need to talk to our parents more. But I feel like right now we're in a place where everyone's mental health is like the craze right now, right? Mm-hmm. People that don't have mental health issues are like, yo, like my sister's young, and constantly she's like talking about her friends are like, oh, she's depressed and oh, she's this, and it's like all of that is mainstream talk now.
In high school? It's high school you're talking about, right?
I'm talking middle school, elementary school.
Bro,
I'm talking young kids.
Wow.
So it's like, that's what they talk about now, because everything mainstream is like, I'm suicidal, I'm depressed, I got mental health issues, you know, my parents hate me, you know, and it's not like that for everybody, right? It was kind of like when we were growing up, everyone was a gangster. Everyone sold drugs. It's like now is like, that was destructive, right? But this is more destructive, because now it's affecting people. Like, you can convince yourself of anything. And now kids are convincing themselves, adults are convincing themselves of things. And I'm not saying mental health doesn't exist, but we really need to examine how we promote mental health and how we approach it and the resolution to it. Cause I know you're a big advocate for therapy. I'm an advocate for therapy and self-help and things of that nature. But I find it funny that no one is actually talking or pushing how we can have better family units. All the help seems to be external.
There you go.
But back in the day, it's like, you know, if you have an issue, like you said, your parents are the ones that are supposed to help you. And we're not teaching parents. People aren't approaching parents saying, hey, like, this is how you be a good parent. Not just giving them a book. Not just, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're recommending people go to therapy, but there's no better therapist than you being able to have an open relationship with your family.
Yeah. And parents, you know, excuse me for saying this, but they're stubborn and ignorant, because they're like, why do I need somebody to teach me how to raise my children when I've already raised 8 children? Just because you raised 8 children doesn't mean you did a good job.
You got a bunch of screwed up kids.
Like, that does not mean you have a good job. And honestly, the biggest form of therapy is an open conversation. Like, if you create an environment for me where I can come and tell you anything, that's the most therapeutic process. Because I remember when I signed up for therapy, I'm like, when I have my call with the John Doe at 6 o'clock, I can tell him everything that's on me, and he's not going to judge. And that's important, because you just want to sometimes just let it out, and you don't even want a response. You just want to get it out. Right? He's like, please don't even give me any advice, bro. Just listen to me, because nobody else is listening to me. Just give me that space. And that's why I think therapy works, because they give you that space. Then they just take notes. And then the next time you meet, you're like, hey, remember what you talked about X, Y, and Z? How's that going? How have you built on that? And just more questions and questions. So it just helps you just feel better. Just unload. And once you've unloaded everything, then it's like, now I have like a puzzle. Right? I have all the pieces to the puzzle. Now help me put this puzzle together. Right? And parents have a hard time doing that, because as soon as you say something, they're just going to jump on it quick, trying to give you advice quick.
Or they get defensive.
Like, okay, well, like, I'm not doing a good job. even when I posted it online on IG, we had this parent come at us, and I told her, I said, hey, she said, make sure you get the parent's perspective. This is a young and Muslim platform.
I'm not a parent.
This is from the eyes of young Muslims. If you want the parent's perspective, then go to a platform that has parents on there, right? You have to understand who the audience is. I'm never the one to blame parents at all, but I know it's a two-way street. But at the same time, your job is to take care of me.
Yeah, not the other way around.
Not the other way around.
What pressure do you feel like a lot of people listening to this, watching this, are getting from their parents? It seems this incident is opened up a wider discussion that we've been having for the past few days of parents putting on unnecessary pressure and not only not listening to them, but not really considering their feelings on things valid. Mm-hmm. Almost dismissing it. It's
difficult because parents still living in their own world. So, for example, like Jabril, I'm like, yo, do this. And if you can't, you're like, why can't you do this? I did that when I was 15, bro. You're 25 and you can't do this, dog. Like, you're a loser almost. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, what? And then your aunts and your uncles come, and the first thing they want to do is just to brag about their children and say who's doing better. And when they come and they sit and they gossip, like they talk about this child and that child, you never want to be that parent where everybody's talking about your child, you know? So when people start talking about
in a good way or a bad way?
It's mainly in a bad way for the most part.
Gotcha.
Sometimes it's good, but when it's good, it's most about showboating or just showing off. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, if your child that everybody is talking bad about, you come home and you take out the frustration on your child. And instead of saying like, yo, like, what's going on? Talk to me. Let's work on it. You worry more about what people have to say than what your children have to say.
So let me ask you, this is personal. Yeah. How do you feel about, I know no one wants to have the negative things said. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time with people always bragging on me. I don't like it. Mm-hmm. Like, I like to just do my thing, do my work. Mm-hmm. I'm about my business, and then I keep moving. Like, congratulations, a lot of things. Oh, man, da-da-da. But once it gets to the point where it's like, you are the future. Yeah. Everyone's relying on you. Yeah, you're doing this for us. We're living through you. I hate that. Like, I've always, even when I was real young, I hated that because it adds an unnecessary amount of pressure on something where it's like, we keep pressure on ourselves, right? We have expectations of ourselves just as human beings. Like, the only thing that brings us happiness as humans is that we strive to be better, period. Right? In all aspects of our lives, we want more. Like, that's something that Allah created us with, is that we have this insatiable appetite for success, right? In whatever form. If we're already putting pressure on ourselves, the last thing we need is family putting pressure on us to do something that we already enjoy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about good bragging?
I think there is such thing as like building your kids' confidence. Like, that's huge. We already have a problem with confidence and self-esteem. Mm-hmm. A lot of us have low self-esteem because we're worried about what people do. We're not confident in ourselves. So parents don't help with that. So a good way to brag can be like, you know what? My son, I've been seeing him working hard. You know, every time he may have a lot of different ideas and jump from one thing to another thing, but I know that when he starts something, he's going to finish it and put his all in. Like, that's good encouragement, but that's not how it comes out. It's almost just like, my son's a doctor now, you know, but you didn't talk about the process of your son going to be a doctor, and he's working unlimited amounts of hours just to pay off his debt and to impress you. You know what I'm saying? And to say, Dad, I finally did it. But then on the side, he might have a hobby that you despise and he won't tell you about. You see what I'm saying? So I think the best way for parents, if you're listening, to help encourage your kids is see what they like to do, right? Because they know themselves better than you do, or they should. Mm-hmm. Right. So understand what they like to do and then just guide them.
I was going on something different. I'm going more like you were at first going on about like parents bragging on kids, or parents listening to outside people talk about their kids in a bad way. I was speaking more so on the aspect of being bragged on by your parents towards other people. Like, imagine there's a circle, right? Yeah. You were coming at a perspective of, you know, the parents that go in there and talk about the kids, how bad they're doing, right? I'm on the other end where it's like the parents talk about the kids that are doing really well. So they're all in the same circle. All these parents are talking, but some are saying like, oh, my son does this, this, and this, and they do this. And the other ones are like, oh, my son ain't doing none of that. My daughter isn't doing none of that. Yeah. They're both in the same circle of these parents. But I find that both of them have their associated pressure, and neither is good. And I guess what I'm coming at it is parents need to allow their kids to do what they do and guide without putting added pressure on them to be something that they want. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we can take the whole like the doctor thing, right? Like, yeah, I want to be a doctor because I like it, but I don't need you going to all your friends and bragging on me because I enjoy doing this. I enjoy the work that I do. But every time I have a successful surgery, I don't need you going, see, he saved another life. Right? Say it like it's like sometimes let me do my work. Let me be in it. Let me enjoy it. Be proud of me. I love it, and I'm glad that I'm making you proud. But sometimes you want to almost like, you just want to be able to do what you do. Yeah. And I think even on the opposite end, it's the same way. It's like you want guidance without the pressure of feeling like you're a disappointment. You just want your parents to be parents. And you want your parents to always be cheerleaders, but not OD. You know what I'm saying?
I think you answered your own question right there. I think you broke it down very well. The biggest thing is just be proud of me, because at the end of the day, everybody wants their children to be the best. That's just being honest. You feel me? Whatever your children do, you want them to be the best, but not at the expense of their own lives, right? I want my children to, inshallah, when I have children, I want them to be the best human beings, right? Not in regards to a specific profession, because they could be so good at this one thing, but all other aspects of their life could be hurting from a holistic approach. So for me, just like, hey, whatever you do, don't give up, put in the work, do your research, be a good human being, you know, like fear Allah, love Allah. But what I want you to be is the best man you can be, the best woman you can be, the best daughter you can be. Just that's the way that I would see it. But I think parents need to also be educated too. You know, it's more than just a profession. Yeah,
I mean, I think Allah, you know, I have two wonderful, amazing parents, and in many aspects, they allowed me and my siblings to be able to talk and to come to them and ask questions, and they listen. I'm not saying they do it all the time, but when we talk about therapy, it's like you said, it's like you're able to talk to a therapist that has no judgment, and if they do, they don't show it, but it's like they help you process things for yourself. Whereas a parent, in my opinion, should be someone that you should be able to go to in the same likeness. You shouldn't have to go outside to find guidance on a moral perspective. You know what I'm saying? On a personal level. I'm not talking about like, you know, you're trying to learn a new skill or you're trying to go somewhere. Even if you want to find somebody to help you with your career and give you life advice, like there's people that you definitely should reach out to. But if your family, if at home your family isn't one of those outlets, that's something that has to be worked on, because it is such a big part of your life. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I like that you brought that up, and I heard this from Patrick David, one of my favorite entrepreneurs, and what he said was that, yes, I have money. I have lots of money, but he said, I don't give my kids money. And I think our parents, especially foreigners, and, you know, it could be the same for the domestic parents, is that when I leave, I have to give my kids something. I have to give them a house. I have to give them a car. They used to have like money in the bank, because that's what we focus on, right? But it's like, no, what type of characteristics can you leave your children? What type of morals? What type of principles? Like that, he said, because once you leave your kids that, everything else they'll figure out, right? But if you just focus on leaving them 2 gas stations, 3 gas stations, 20 subways, even when they get that, like not one, they may not know what to do with it. Even if they do, that it's not going to guarantee that they're still going to be good people, right? And reach the form of Jannah. So I just think it's backwards. We want more of the things that can help us internally instead of externally. Because I think you said this before, internally, that's not stuff that people can see right away. Yeah. But other people can be like, oh, mashallah, his dad worked hard, and guess what he did? He left $100,000 for his kids. He's the man. He left his kids 3 houses. But after he passes away, the whole family gets broken up because they fight over the money. Who's going to keep the house? Right?
Yeah.
When Allah says in the Quran how to divvy things up between family members if something was to happen, but they're not looking at that. They're like, oh yeah, well my mom said I got that, and next thing you know, somebody got one house, somebody got one house, somebody got one house. They're all living apart and they never speak to each other again.
And sometimes it's okay. No, I definitely, I get it, man. I think this conversation is important because we really have to put the emphasis on parents. And for those of us who are young, Muslim, we're married, the onus has to be on us, this next generation, to be better parents for our kids. I think for me, the biggest flex I want to have, I knew I've wanted to be a parent since I was like young. I've always been good with babies. I love kids. I think for me, the biggest flex I can ever have is my kids never having to work for money. Them being able to do things they want to do because that's what they enjoy, and they want to try different things. If you want to travel the world and be a painter, but you know how to get what you need to get, do that. I don't care if you make, $30,000 a year, $100 million a year. It doesn't matter. I think what's important, and that's my philosophy on life now, is the amount of money you make isn't as important as how you make it.
There you go.
And how you feel about how you make it.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? And I think we kind of grew up in a generation, where people didn't care how you made it. They just cared about how much you made.
Yep.
And so it's a mentality that we've had to really unlearn. I mean, even for myself, I'm unlearning a lot of that cultural stuff. And it didn't necessarily come from my household. It came from outside. But even within my house, like me and my dad were vastly different. My dad is very motivated by certain things that I don't get motivated by. One of the things, I'm motivated by money, but I'm not saying he's a slave to it, but money isn't what motivated me to hit you and be like, yo, let's start a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's not what motivated us to start Mojo back in the day. It's never been like the thing.
It wasn't like a Bitcoin thing. Let's hop on this because everybody's making money.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, yo, what can we do that will have a lasting effect? And for me, that matters a lot more than the money made.
There you go.
Because you're leaving behind a legacy, like you're saying. You're leaving something behind for your kids, your grandkids, whoever. So this podcast, for example, like, yeah, we want to make money. Like, that's important. Like, you need that. That's reality. You need those funds. But if I was to say, like, I only do this for money, or I do this so I can make money, like, I would be mistaken. You know what I'm saying? It's completely left field of what we're really trying to do.
Facts. And we're not saying to not work hard and leave your kids debt. That's not what we're saying. Make sure you hustle and leave them some monetary values too. But it's a balance in everything that we do. Y'all know that. Whew. Talking about money, I think it might be important to talk about the future of this podcast.
Oh yeah, we're gonna start charging y'all fools.
Yeah. I understand that. You know, because look, I had this conversation with Jabril.
I was kind of joking, by the way. Like,
no.
You guys are safe. You guys are safe right now.
Everybody's just like, woof. But no, we're talking about exploitation. Like, you guys understand that the podcast is our business, and this content that we provide is our energy, right? Like being a content creator takes everything out of us, even when we don't have it in us. You know what I mean? So we need to be.
Well, I don't want to stop you, right? Because I think we're on a good track. I want to make this about the bigger. We've had creator talk, right? We did that. I believe the last episode where we had creator talk. Creators gonna create, so on and so forth. But I think this conversation we're going on, because I want to give context to it before we dive in.
Go ahead.
We've had a lot of your favorite social media people fall out of love with what they're creating because they aren't supported by the people that adore the creation.
They benefit from it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, you as an audience, like, you guys benefit from our podcast, other podcasts, Instagram personalities, people that are, doing this work without having to put any real effort into receiving what you guys are getting. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it becomes burdensome for a lot of the creators because now they're pigeonholed and I just give you guys free content, and the switch has to flick for creators and for the audiences, where you guys as the audience have to realize, hey, they're giving us free stuff. We want to support in other ways, like not just donations, but like when people drop things, when they start doing, classes, or when they do retreats, when they do, whatever it is that costs money, the support needs to be shown there as well, because what that does is it shows them that the work that they're doing is being appreciated. Views and listens and downloads, that stuff is great, but none of it equates to money. YouTube money is fugazi. Yeah. Like it's not real. Mm-mm. You can be getting 1 million views per video that you put up and you're still not making a lot of money. All right. Like you'll make like 20,000 a video or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know, 5,000, 6,000 a video. That's a lot of money. Don't get it twisted, but still it's like your favorite creators are getting burnt out, especially after this last year. So the model is having to switch up. A lot of people are starting to go to a model where they're able to charge or they're adding premium content or what have you. So, I just want to add it.
No, that's good.
I just want to add in that because I don't want people that listen to this podcast or the fans, whether they're new or old, thinking like, yo, like it's time for y'all to pay up. Is really, we do the creative talking also to give you guys an inside look at not just us, but some of your favorite influencers you've been following for a while. It's very tough to continue to curate stuff out of thin air. Podcasting was very difficult this last year.
It was.
Not just because, we need a place to record or this. It's like, bro, the amount of information that we had to like really dig for and the energy that you had to create out of thin air to do this is crazy. So always give respect to the people that are creating the stuff that you enjoy, because it's not easy.
I mean, the way that I see it is that yes, the content is great, but what gets me is that who is there in my time of need? For example, when I was going through something, like I didn't have my friends, I didn't have my family, there was this one page that really did help me and pull me out of that struggle. That's why you hear people all the time like, I was listening to so-and-so's, music or poetry, but at first it didn't connect with me. But when I was going through a similar situation, guess what? That actually helped me. It gave me not only the beneficial knowledge to push through, but it gave me the confidence, right? And it gave me that communal aspect to say, hey, you're not alone in this. I've been through this as well. You'll get through it. This is how you should do it. And for me, that something like that is priceless, right? Because you can't put your finger on that. So when that individual helps you get through a tough time and he has more endeavors going on, support him, right? Because he helped you during a difficult time. And for us, this year was difficult. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Sure, so we're not perfect. Not every day is good. So we also have our down days. So we need your support as much as you guys need our support. It's a two-way street, and it's nothing but love.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right, bro. You're exactly right.
So going on and talking about support, there's a campaign right now that we're supporting. I think this campaign's been going on. It's
been going on for a lifetime, for hundreds of thousands of years, bro.
Keep your hands off my hijab.
I think it's a great campaign. I think in a bigger way though, in a bigger nutshell, is really about people trying to tell women how to dress, what to wear, how to think, and because all right, we know what France is doing to Muslims is pretty asinine. Like it's just crazy that they think that they can exploit Muslims, use them for culture, use them for, the things that they bring, but then don't grant them the same freedoms that they do everyone else in their country. It's Islamophobic and they know it and they're really not shying away from it.
Yeah. Right? They proud.
Yeah. Like it's crazy. Right. But like, I think the bigger discussion at hand is we have to protect the women because it's easy to single them out. You know what I'm saying? The men is always the women that have to speak on the issues and things like that. You know what I'm saying? It's never like the Muslim men. They're not saying, yo, no long beards. You get what I'm saying?
Certain places, but that's just because this just. Yeah, not everybody's on it, right?
Yeah, like it's not like a nation is saying like if you have a beard longer than this length, we're cutting it. Like just imagine the police come with clippers. Like, what?
If I see you out here again with that beard, son, it's gonna be a wrap.
They're just gonna cut one side of your beard off. Like, how would you feel about that? You feel like we feeling outraged.
But what?
I think in a wider context, right? We always talk about like in super conservative countries, they're like women can't wear X, Y, and Z. And then in super liberal countries, they're looking at the women, they're conservative, like, yo, like, you need to take it off. And it's like, yo, how about y'all just, how about we just leave them be? Right. Let them wear what they're going to wear. And we have to do a better job at protecting them and giving them spaces so they can just do them. Did I?
Yeah, that was a mic drop because you're exactly right. You know, we're telling them what to put on, what to take off. You know, like you said, what to say, what not to say. And I was telling Jabril, like, when I get up in the morning and I'm getting dressed, the only person I'm worrying about is me. How do I look? How do I feel? There is no second thoughts. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm out the door. But for me to be like, man, if I wear my beard, like you said, if I wear my hat like this, or if I put on the sweater, I could get in trouble by the law. Yeah. Like, that is crazy to me. And like you said, France is a quote unquote a progressive country, and they have stuff like that. I do kind of want to bring up the history though. That I got from Hote Hijab. Shout out. Hote.
Yo, I'm not going to lie. With that entire interview, we were saying the joint wrong. You know, I didn't say anything. If you watched the episode that you guys saw, I didn't say, I was like, I'm not saying it because I'm going to wait until she says it. He was like, hot hijab. We were saying that for months. We were like, yo, we got hot hijab.
That's a weird, that's a weird way to spell hot.
Yeah. Only after the interview did I decide to go on Google and be like, what is hope? What is hope? What does that mean?
What is it?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So a quick, shout out to the sis Melanie for posting this. So a quick, timeline about the hijab ban in France, what you need to know. So back in 2004, France bans veils in public schools and government institutions, right? So any type of, I believe it's face veils, right? In public schools.
Basically where you can't see their face at all.
Yes. Then after, that was only in public schools and government, right? Then in 2010, they banned it in any public area. Okay? So no, niqabs or anything to cover your face. Then in 2016, France banned the burkini in 15 French towns, right? What gets me about that is that not only is it Muslim women that go to the beach and cover themselves. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I found that was weird.
You got to get that right. Like, there's other people that's like, hey, I don't want to be out here in a bathing suit, bro, or a two-piece. Like, yo, let me, I want to put on some leggings or something like that. You feel me? Or like long sleeve Under Armour. Then 2020, France enforced wearing face masks on public transportation to help stop COVID-19. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But those caught wearing face coverings deemed religious will still be fined. So basically, you have to wear a mask, and if it's a piece of cloth, and you seem as religious, then they're fining you, right? Now, most recently, what happened back in February 16, France introduced the separatism bill, right, which proposes prohibiting minors under the age of 18 from wearing hijabs in public, hijabi mothers from accompanying their children on school trips, and women from wearing burkinis in public swimming pools. All right,
bro, that sounds like some Jim Crow, bro. Like, people can't swim here type stuff.
How specific can they get,
bro? They're not shying away from being Islamophobic. Like, it's crazy.
And then on March 30th, right, a few weeks ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago, the French Senate voted in favor of the separatism bill. So there's people behind this. If passed by the National Assembly, the separatism bill could impact over 5.7 million Muslims living in the country and any Muslims who visit. Should this latest ruling be passed into law, the age of consent for sex is 15 years old, would be lower than the age of consent for hijab, which is 18 years old. So we're not going to France, y'all. I'm sorry. Like, yeah. UK?
I'm speechless, man.
Yeah, bro.
But I'm like, that's crazy.
That's wild.
Yo, next topic, man.
Yeah,
next topic. I can't even
like speak on it because it's like we don't wear the hijab. So even if we went to France, like, it wouldn't affect us directly, but indirectly, if we had family or anything like that, it would be difficult. So may Allah guide the French government. You feel me? May Allah guide Emmanuel Macron and give him some macaroons or something like that to help with his appetite, because he's straight wilding right now. He needs Snickers, yeah. He needs Snickers because he's a wild. And it's crazy because I remember when he came onto the scene, he was seen as like a nice, prestigious individual. But yeah, man, these people all have agendas. So make sure everybody keeps up with that. I think another thing that everybody should also keep up with is the George Floyd case. With Derek Chauvin, they're going on trial right now. So it's going to be going on within the month of Ramadan. So, if that's not something that you've been keeping up with, make sure you tune your TVs to it. Also, Muhammad Anwar, that was the Uber driver that was carjacked out in Southeast DC and was murdered by two young teenagers who tried to carjack him and then tased him, and then he ended up passing away. So the young teenagers will also be going up in trial, and that I believe that court date has been set to April 20th. So a lot of stuff in the news. I know, we're going to Ramadan and we're doing spiritual cleansing and fasting, but we can't close ourselves off to the world because these are still our people out there still being affected. So make sure you look for those causes, because I'm sure there'll be different ways to support them financially and, with prayers as well. So
Muslim and non-Muslim, man, because I grew up in a household where you have Muslims and you have non-Muslims. And I think it's important for us as Muslims to remember that we're supposed to fight for justice and equality for all people, regardless if we agree with them or not. When you see injustice, when you see outrage, you're supposed to be outraged as a Muslim, as a God-fearing individual. We're supposed to fight for the rights of others. So recently what we're seeing with Asian hate as well, a lot of Asian Americans are being discriminated against. They're being, and this has been going on longer than the last 2-3 months since the hashtag. It's been going on for years. We really need to speak up. And it doesn't have to be a hashtag. It really just means when you see people having crude Asian jokes, be like, yo, bro, that's not funny. Right? Don't indulge the discrimination. Don't indulge the blatant racism or the blatant misogyny. Don't indulge in that stuff. And we have to be the ones to start that, because really the dopest of trends start with, well, I'm going to say black people and then Muslims. So, so really black Muslims. We'll just put it all together.
Come on, y'all.
We need to do a better job ourselves as a community to speak out against these things, and to stand up for those in need. Again, whether we agree with them, whether we have bias against them or not, is imperative. Because if you save a life, it's as if you saved all the humanity. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And you get the blessings, because at the end of the day, everything here is a lost creation. Everything. And if you save a lost creation rather than destroy it, how do you think Allah looks at that? Right? So whenever we see any injustice, like with this carjacking, it feels horrible, right? But I implore us that we don't just pay attention to things because a Muslim is involved. We pay attention because a human is involved. A creation of Allah is being destroyed for, a senseless reason. Like, you have a 13 to 15-year-old carjacking a man, and they legally can't even drive.
Yeah, good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah,
who's about to drive? 13-year-old can't even see over the steering wheel. Like, and it sucks because they're kids. Like, these are literally kids. You know what I'm saying? So we need to do our part on trying to protect others in the community, protect our elderly. We're seeing an Asian lady get beat senseless outside of a hotel. Come on, and bro. What sense does it make what happens if, and I'm saying if we find out that the staff workers in that hotel were Muslim? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we going to be in outrage because now look like you're making us look bad? I'm saying if. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying if. It's like we really need to start taking stands for those in our community who are in need. Just like zakat, like we're commanded to give zakat to certain people, and it's like, yo, we need to protect these people as well. We need to be the ones out on the front line saying like, yo, like what's going on with homelessness is crazy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We have to be the people that are on the front lines, and specifically for men, we have to be the ones to lead that. And we wonder why our communities, our ummah is in such disarray. It's because everywhere you go, it's the women who are leading these campaigns. It's the women that are on the front lines holding up signs. They're taking all the grunt too. They're taking, because they're there, you know? They take all the damage because they're visible. So it's like we have to be the veil around our women, not letting our women stand alone in the struggle. So we're here. That's what we've always been about from day one. This is nothing new for Muhammad and myself. We've always been about supporting women, encouraging women, and empowering them, giving them platforms. And I mean, if you have an issue with that, deuces. Like, you can be a last time listener without an issue. But yeah, that I don't know, that always gets me that puts me in a mode, man, because I'm seeing a lot of Muslim elitists, especially on our page now when we post things about non-Muslims and we're like, yo, like, pray for these people, like, they need our help, like, pray for those it's like, oh, but if they prayed more, it's like, yo, like, who are you? You could pray every single day of your life and still go to hell.
Still need mercy, bro.
Yeah,
still
everyone
need mercy.
We're Muslims. We're supposed to be the mercy for other people, to help people, but yet we constantly condemn people. So we need to be better. We need to, if we want Allah to be forgiven to us, we need to, one, forgive ourselves and then forgive others. If we want to be merciful, we need to be merciful on ourselves and then be merciful to others. So it's like all the things that we want, we wish and pray for Allah to put on us, we need to take that same energy and give it to others as well. So
hey, look, another mic drop, right? Chapstick drop. No, but for like Jabril said, let's do better. Let's be better. You know, we pray that this episode helped you guys get in a better space than you recently were. We honestly encourage everybody, right, to really have the best Ramadan they can, right? Because honestly, we don't know if we'll be able to reach the next one. So be in the moment. Don't try to hurry up and go through the month so you can go back to what you were doing. Like, nah, man, just chill, be in the moment and try to make a change. This is a time to change, not next year, not next month, like today. Make a change today. If it's something small, let it be small. But what you do not want to do is wait to start today, man. So, but Jabril, with that being said, let's go ahead and start this outro.
So for the last hour and a half and maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, you've been listening to the Young and Muslim Podcast. I'm Jabril Salam.
Muhammad Hassan.
And don't forget to hit that link in the bio. Or how do we?
No. They have to. How can they listen to us before?
See. You see, we broke it up.
So listen. If you have any questions, right? How can they?
Well, if you guys have any questions or you guys want to reach out to us and just like kick it, chat, whatever, or you just want to follow us on a day to day, you can find us on Instagram. I would say Twitter, but we're not really up there. But you can find us on Instagram and YouTube at the Young and Muslim Podcast, or you can just search Young and Muslim, YOUNG, the letter N, Muslim, Young and Muslim. You can shoot us a DM. You can like and follow, subscribe, and do all the good stuff. Yes. But Muhammad, if they want to listen to the podcast, where can they go and listen?
Absolutely. So any major platform that has podcasts available, you'll find us, Young and Muslim. So just to give you some examples, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, what else, bro? There's so many out there. Pandora. I mean,
we're everywhere.
Yeah, just look it up. You'll find us.
Worldwide, baby.
And just a quick disclaimer. All you scammers, we coming for y'all. Stop calling us. We ain't got no money for y'all. Right, that's not what a platform's about. Like, stop calling us. Say, brother, we need money. We have no money. We have content. That's what we have. We have content. If you are really in need, go to your local, like a masajid or a community organization. Like, we'll get you that. But we are not a bank. We're not a financial company. We don't have money to give to people. So I just wanted to let y'all know that because people have been calling us like.
Ask for money. Yeah, it's getting crazy. Stop that.
Yeah,
Stop that.
All right. Now it's time to wrap it up.
All right. So for the last hour and a half, you have been listening to the Young and Muslim Podcast. I'm Jabril Salam.
Muhammad Hassan.
And you have been listening to the Young and Muslim Podcast.
We leave you with the greetings of peace.
Asalaamu.
Alakum.
Peace. You can tell we're rusty. Yeah. You can tell we're rusty. We're working on it. We're working on it.
You usually say that, so.
Peace.
Sign up for the program.
Yes, link in the bio. Link in the bio. Check down below.
Let it rain. And rock it up.